Everybody, welcome to my making of my dictator gun. This is a SEMA SVD-S and I'm about to spray paint it gold. So I just spent maybe an hour to an hour and a half masking this off, and that's because I was patient and took my time. The parts that whenever you're making or painting an airsoft gun, you always want to mask off anything that leads to the internals. So most importantly, that's going to be the inside of the barrel. That's also going to be inside the magazine. Sometimes I also like to mask off the trigger depending on how careful I want to be. Other parts I've masked off is I masked off the pistol grip. I've masked off a portion of the stock. I'm not going to paint any of the stock, but I've only masked off this portion because if I'm spraying back here, there should be at no point in time where I get all the way back there. Masked off the handguard. I've also masked off both pairs of sights, and I masked off the gas tube and gas block as best I could. I did these little extra bits because if you can take a gun, there's no problem with you taking a gun and spray painting the whole thing gold, but then it looks super monochrome and it doesn't look that good. It's like some cheap CS:GO skin. So I'm trying to mask off some parts as if some parts came gold and the other parts came black, and then it was built together. So I kept some of the smaller bits black. And that's also what takes a lot of time when masking, just taking off tiny bits of masking tape and getting around all the little details. I know it looks ugly, but there's tape on top of tape on top of tape on top of tape, so I can eventually get close to straight lines. So at least from a couple feet away, it's gonna look nice. Anyway, also just for some fun continuity's sake, these are the pegboards for my gun wall. That means today is still Christmas. I've got no idea when this video is going to come up, but today is Christmas. It's a little after 9 at Christmas, and I'm going to paint this gun and the magazine. I've masked off the top of the magazine as well as the wheel. I'm not going to prime the gun because I'm going to expect to use this gun. I expect the gold paint to get scratched. I'd prefer to have black underneath rather than the color of primer. So anyway, let's do it. So here I'm using Rust-Oleum metallic. It's supposed to come out pretty shiny, and technically this is for interior type things. Where it's all surface, so metal's fine. But again, I'm not really worried about how well the paint sticks or stays, because in the end I could always spray paint it black again or just strip it and go again. Okay. Let's start the magazine because that's easily replaceable. What's really nice about this too is it's covering the black in like one coat. I'm probably gonna hit it with two, but that first coat is looking really nice in the magazine. Let's hit the barrel. Yeah, the coverage on this is really good. I like it a lot. That's a few sprays. I'm gonna have so much extra paint after this. Okay, I'm gonna stop it for right now. I'm gonna paint the rest of the gun and take the tape off. First off, I'm gonna let this dry here with a second coat of paint before I flip it over, same with the magazine. But first, just looking at how it looks right now, it's what I highly recommend, this Rust-Oleum Metallic. This can of spray paint was less than $4 at Home Depot or whatever. So yeah, I'd go with this. Alrighty, and we're back. Now I'm just going to start removing tape, and I'll show you, there are a few blemishes on it that are still there. But I'm pretty happy with it. It's smooth on like 85% of the gun. So now it's just like Christmas. You just take off all the tape.
This is a Chicky Beat production.
Alright, and like that, it is complete. It's a little messy in some parts, so there's like, when looking at builds like this, I think there's like a scale of 3 things. You can either have a bad build or a complete fail. And that would be if I had just spray painted the whole gun without using any tape. That would be bad. You've got good, which is you used tape, but you're a little impatient, a little sloppy, and so some of it didn't turn out so well. I would put myself on very good in the case that a little bit of it's sloppy, but like most of it looks very, very good. And then on the top of the scale, you're gonna have great. And if you want a great build, how you do that is you actually got to disassemble the gun. Again, that you're not going to be using much tape because all the gold parts here you'd have taken apart, taken them off the gun and painted them gold. The black parts wouldn't even be touched. So some of the parts I messed up. First off, there's a little pooling. Maybe you can see on the top of the cover there. There's a little bit pooling, but most of it is actually in the bottom of the outer barrel. There's like ripples because when I flipped it, like first I sprayed from this side, obviously, and then I flipped it over and I sprayed from the other side, and where it meets in the middle, it makes this like line. That's a little ugly. Another part that's a little ugly is gotta be careful. This thing's big. Right here, the gun or the paint didn't lie completely flat. I don't know if there's some dust there or what it was, but right there it looks kinda messy back there. And then of course there are just a few parts that the tape didn't seal perfectly. So on this black part here, you can see that some paint got through. Now that's all along this assembly. There's spots where I want it to be black, where some paint got through, but for me it's like big deal. Who cares? Would you guys have even noticed it if I was just holding up the gun like this? The magazine. I ended up taking that piece of black tape off the bottom and doing a real light coat off there because I didn't like how it looked with like a oddly shaped black chunk. So now the magazine's all gold, and there we go. It fits the gun like that. The bottom of that magazine's still a little wet. I'll be careful when taking that out. Actually, I'll probably just leave it like this. So I think I'm going to leave it down here for the night for the paint to dry fully. For these coats, I left about 5 to 10 minutes in between because that's what the instructions say. Like do every 5 to 10 minutes, let it dry, and then after letting it sit overnight, it should be good to go and good to get scratched up and messed up all over again. One thing I should show you guys is actually you can see a little bit of the paint did settle on the back there. The best way to avoid that is if I did just tape up the whole stock, but I was lazy, and I really don't mind that. It's not a big deal. So again, this is not the perfect build, but I still think it looks pretty cool. I just gotta make sure not to bang it up against literally everything I own. And I don't think I'm gonna go over some of the parts in black again. I think that's a little overkill. So I think the gun is pretty solid the way it is right now. So thanks for watching this quick little video. If you like things like this, leave a like, leave a sub, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.